What if I told you that the world's largest online retailer started with just $300,000, a garage in Bellevue, Washington, and a crazy idea to sell books on something called the internet? In 1994, most people didn't even know what a website was, yet one man bet everything on a vision that seemed absolutely insane at the time. By the end of this video, you'll discover the 3 critical decisions Jeff Bezos made that turned a garage startup into a $1 trillion empire, and a shocking mistake that almost killed Amazon before it even began. But before we dive into this incredible story, if you're fascinated by how billionaires built their empires from nothing, smash that like button and subscribe for more mind-blowing business stories. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Picture this. It's 1994, and Jeff Bezos is living the American dream. He's got a 6-figure job at a prestigious hedge fund on Wall Street, a corner office, and a clear path to becoming incredibly wealthy through traditional finance. But then he stumbles across a statistic that changes everything. Internet usage is growing at 2,300% per year. Most people would have filed this information away as interesting trivia. But Bezos had what he called his regret minimization framework. He imagined himself at 80 years old, looking back on his life. Would he regret not trying to ride this internet wave? The answer was crystal clear. But here's what most people don't know about that decision. Bezos didn't just quit his job and start Amazon. He made a list of 20 different products he could sell online. Books weren't even his first choice. So what was? And why did he ultimately choose books? The answer will surprise you, and it reveals the genius behind Amazon's entire strategy. Everyone talks about the famous garage where Amazon started, but here's the truth that nobody tells you. That garage wasn't even Jeff's idea. It was his wife Mackenzie who suggested they move to Seattle and start the company in their garage. But why Seattle? Bezos had done his homework. He needed to be near a major tech talent pool, but more importantly, he needed to be in a state with a small population. Here's why this was genius. At the time, companies only had to collect sales tax in states where they had a physical presence. By choosing Washington State, with its relatively small population, Amazon could sell to customers in larger states like California and Texas without collecting sales tax, giving them a massive price advantage. But the garage story gets even more interesting. That famous garage? Bezos was so focused on building the business that he forgot to clear out space for cars. His neighbors started wondering why this guy was getting hundreds of packages delivered to his house every day. Little did they know they were witnessing the birth of something that would change the world forever. Now, here's where things get really crazy. In those first few weeks, Bezos had to make a decision that would either make or break the company. He was processing orders manually, and when Amazon got its first big order, 10 books from a single customer, he panicked. The order was so large that he didn't have enough inventory. What he did next was either brilliant or completely insane, and it set the tone for Amazon's entire culture. While other online retailers were focused on making quick profits, Bezos made a radical choice. He would reinvest every penny back into customer experience. Free shipping, easy returns, massive selection. Wall Street hated this approach. For years, Amazon barely made any profit, and investors constantly questioned Bezos' strategy. But here's the secret sauce nobody talks about. Bezos wasn't building a bookstore. He was building a customer acquisition machine. Every satisfied customer became a stepping stone to something much bigger. But what was that bigger vision? And how did selling books lead to cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and space exploration? In 2000, Amazon made a decision that seemed completely backwards. They decided to let their competitors sell products on Amazon's platform. People thought Bezos had lost his mind. Why would you help your competition? But this wasn't about competition. It was about control. By becoming the platform where everyone else had to play, Amazon could collect data, charge fees, and ultimately decide who wins and who loses. It was like owning them all instead of just being another store in it. While every other company was focused on quarterly earnings, Bezos was thinking in decades. He famously said he was building Amazon for the year 2040, not 2000. This long-term thinking allowed Amazon to make investments that seemed crazy at the time, but paid off massively later. But here's the part of the story that almost never gets told. There was a moment in Amazon's early days when the company almost went bankrupt. The decision Bezos made in that critical moment reveals the true secret behind Amazon's success, and it's not what you think. By 1999, Amazon was burning through cash faster than they could raise it. The dot-com bubble was about to burst, and investors were getting nervous. Amazon's stock price plummeted from $100 to $6. Critics called the company Amazon da bomb. Bezos was down to his last few months of cash. He had two choices: cut costs dramatically and try to become profitable immediately, or double down on growth and risk everything. Most CEOs would have chosen safety. Bezos chose risk. He raised $672 million in what many considered a desperate move. The media mocked him. Competitors celebrated, thinking Amazon was finished. But Bezos saw something they didn't. The internet was about to go mainstream, and whoever controlled online retail, when that happened, would win everything. The gamble worked. While other dot-com companies collapsed, Amazon not only survived, but thrived. But the real genius wasn't just surviving the crash. It was what Amazon did during the crash that nobody saw coming. While everyone else was cutting costs, Amazon was buying up warehouse space for pennies on the dollar from failed competitors. They were hiring top talent that other companies were laying off. They were building the infrastructure that would power their next phase of growth. But here's the most shocking part. During this near-death experience, Bezos was secretly working on something that had nothing to do with books or retail. Something that would eventually become Amazon Web Services, generating over $80 billion in annual revenue and powering half the internet. This is where the garage story comes full circle. That same garage where Bezos started selling books became the birthplace of cloud computing. The discipline he learned from manually processing book orders taught him about systems and automation. Every challenge Amazon faced in its early days became a solution they could sell to other companies. So what can we learn from Jeff Bezos and Amazon's Garage to Empire story? It's not just about having a good idea or working hard. It's about three things. First, thinking long-term when everyone else is thinking short-term. Bezos was building for 2040 when others were worried about next quarter. Second, obsessing over customers instead of competitors. While other companies were trying to beat each other, Amazon was trying to serve customers better. Third, being willing to look stupid in the short term to be right in the long term. Amazon lost money for years while building something incredible. But here's the final twist that brings everything together. That garage in Bellevue, it's now worth millions of dollars, not because of the real estate, but because of what it represents. It's a reminder that the biggest companies in the world often start with the smallest steps. If this story inspired you to think bigger about your own dreams and goals, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more incredible business stories. And here's my question for you. What's your garage moment? What crazy idea are you sitting on that could change everything? Drop it in the comments below, because you never know who might be reading and ready to help you turn that idea into reality. And if you want to see how other billionaires built their empires from nothing, check out this video about how Elon Musk started with just $28,000 and built multiple billion-dollar companies. Trust me, that story will blow your mind even more than this one.